Bam! Hey, it's Match Your Fun Week for, ready? Cancer Companions. That's right, Karen Tripp, founder and executive director of Cancer Companions, and I am here to share with you what is this Match Your Fund Week. Well, I'll tell you, it is an opportunity for you to take advantage of a $30,000 matching fund that our wonderful board of directors and a couple of illustrious other donors have ended up contributing to make it so that if you donate $100, they'll match it and turn it into $200. And so this is a great week to be able to make a donation to Cancer Companions. But time's running out. Saturday, that's right, tomorrow, Saturday, November 11th, at the end of the day is our last chance to be able to hit this goal. And I know that you guys are invested in seeing the great things that Christian programming can do for folks that are coping with cancer. So we're back to the reason why. Why in the world would you want to be able to donate to Cancer Companions? Great question. First, I want you to know that yes, I believe that the only things you should be donating to are things that you believe in, things that you have faith in. Do you believe that the thing you're donating to is going to make a positive impact on this world? And so I want to talk to you about something that I think makes a positive impact on the world, and that's Scripture. Do you believe in the power of Scripture? I do. I really do. And that may not surprise you, actually, because you've probably heard me talk about the fact that every Cancer Companion program has prayer, Scripture, and connection filled with it. But what does that Scripture thing look like? Do we just grab a Bible, start flipping it open, and then poke our finger on a Scripture and read it out loud to somebody with cancer? No. Although I gotta tell you, I believe Scripture's so powerful that might be kind of fun. But no, what we have done is over the 13 years, we have written 3 Bible studies specifically for folks that are coping with cancer. They're huge, they're big, they're wonderful. They cover everything from faith and hope to stress to nutrition and on and on. And the best thing about them is that every page is packed with Scripture. And I love that because you know what? That's where the power really is in the Scripture. Now you may be sitting there saying, Karen, I think that's nice. I think that's nice that you have cancer Bible studies. But I want you to know that it's important. And the best way I know to do that is to explain to you what it's like to not have Scripture in a cancer support group. So I ended up working for a number of years at a cancer agency, and I ran cancer support groups. I wasn't allowed to pray. I wasn't allowed to share Scripture. And actually, I was told that if religion comes up in the conversation, that my role was to change the subject politely. That's right. Even just the conversation of religion was something that we shied away from in that agency. Then, thank God, I had a church finally agreed to be able to let me come and lead a Christian cancer support group for them. And so I showed up the first day and I got an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. Now I'll tell you why, because this is what happens in cancer support groups. You start off and everybody starts to share how they're doing since the last time that you met. And so people are talking about their scans and their blood work and treatments and all kinds of things. Maybe their mother-in-law's visiting. And you finally wrap up with, okay, that's how we're all doing since the last time we met. And then what happens is they kind of start to chew on stuff. I call it chewing on stuff. It's like they're going to start talking about, honestly, the same things that they've been talking about. The things that they worry and stress about the most about their cancer. And so it's hard to pull them back out of that with the remaining of the time, which may be a lot, that you're sitting in this support group. And so now I'm sitting in a church. Before, I just had to use any tool that I had as a counselor other than prayer and Scripture to try to be able to lift that group back out. But now in a church, I show up, I've got an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. It's got 4 verses on it. Let's say first week or 4 on healing, right? And I go into the group and sure enough, we share how's everything going, blah, blah, blah. And then it starts to dwindle down to that chewing place. I pull out this piece of paper with Scripture on it. That's all it's got. It's not a Bible study. It's just 4 scriptures. And I hand it out to the group, and all of a sudden, as we go through and we read these scriptures, just talking about what do you think these scriptures have to do with your cancer walk? That's the only discussion question I had. And all of a sudden, you feel the hope flow into the room and the lifting up that takes place. The next week, I show up with maybe 5 verses about faith. Or the next week, I show up with some verses that it's about questions for God. And each time, that's what happens. The power of that scripture is just amazing. I don't know how to tell you clearly enough. And the reason that you can see that our groups are different from the scripture is the fact that they're not Debbie Downers, They're not crying fest. Honestly, there's joy, there's hope, there's even laughter. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't tears sometimes. That doesn't mean that we don't talk about difficult subjects. But it does end up meaning that, yes, that hope that comes from the power of Scripture is something so dynamic in these groups. And so these become important. And so we've developed lots of materials trying to be able to get to folks right at that point that they are at in their cancer walk and what do they need. Some people don't need these big old monster Bible studies. So we've made little booklets that have samples and excerpts from the larger ones for them to have. We've got the 365 devotionals that are coming out in January. We've got cancer prayer cards. There are just so many avenues, and we're not going to stop. We're going to keep looking for ways to be able to put scripture right into the life of folks that are coping with cancer in the way that they can end up receiving it. So what do you think, guys? Do you believe that providing Christian scripture materials to folks with cancer is going to make a difference in this world? I do. I really do, because I've seen how many lives that it's made a difference in. And so if you're thinking, yep, I'm with you, Karen, on this one. Scripture's the one. You found it. That's the thing that I believe can make a difference in this world for cancer patients. Then this is the week you should end up donating. Why? You got it. That's right. It's Match Your Fun Week. So yes, guys, this is the week. Ends tomorrow, Saturday, November 11th. And on that day, you'll find out whether we meet our $30,000 goal or whether you didn't get your donation in time and the $30,000 is already gone. We want you to be a part of this. We want you to make this exciting for you as well, not just for us. We want you to be able to feel double the impact, double the fun that you can end up having by donating to Cancer Companions. You're such a blessing. It's always a joy to talk with you. Thank you so much for all that you do. Prayers and all. Bye, guys.